I don't believe in ghosts. Not then, not now. But I learned something that night in the barracks. Some doors, once opened, don't close again. And if you think messing with an old Ouija board is just a game, you're dead wrong. I thought I knew fear. But that, what we woke up, was something none of us were ready for. You know I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary that night. Hell, nothing ever happens in the barracks. Same old routine, wake up, clean your gear, complain about the food, listen to Gunny yell at you for not getting the logistics right, and then you wait. You wait for the next mission, or maybe some downtime. Doesn't matter. We all know what happens next. If you're lucky, it's sleep. If you're not, it's beer and bad jokes with the guys. We were just killing time, really. Just a bunch of Marines in a small run-down base with nothing to do but waste the hours. And if you've ever been stuck in a place like that, you know the drill. Somebody's always got to come up with something to keep the rest of us entertained. That night, it was Davis. Guy's always looking for a laugh. Always the first one to make a stupid bet or pull some ridiculous stunt. So, when he pulled out an old Ouija board from who knows where, I just rolled my eyes. A damn Ouija board. Really? Out of all the dumb things we could be doing, we were going to sit around and pretend to talk to spirits? I figured it'd be another round of dumb jokes and laughs. But here's the thing. You know how things go when a few guys start getting a little too serious. Next thing you know, everyone's acting like they believe in it. Still, I wasn't worried. Hell, I didn't even believe in ghosts. I've been through combat, seen enough death to know that some things don't need explaining. A spirit board? It was just a game, just a distraction. But what happened next? That's what stuck with me. Funny thing about that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe we weren't the ones in control anymore. So, there it was, an old dusty Ouija board that Davis had somehow managed to dig up. Not sure how he got his hands on it, but he was grinning like he'd just found a hidden stash of ammo. The rest of us just rolled our eyes, traded looks, and braced ourselves for whatever dumb thing he was about to pull. "All right, guys," he said, slapping the board down on the table like it was a deck of cards for a poker game. "Who's ready to talk to some ghosts?" Of course, everyone started snickering. Gunny's the first to call him out. "You gotta be kidding me, Davis. You're really pulling this crap now?" But Davis wasn't backing down. He started setting it up like he was about to give a briefing on the latest operation, arranging the planchette, getting everything just right. The rest of us started to gather around, half out of boredom, half out of curiosity. Maybe it was the long stretch of nothing happening, or maybe we were just waiting for someone else to speak up first, but before long, all of us were staring at that board. Like a bunch of idiots, we were all leaning in, hands hovering over the planchette, ready for whatever. At first, nothing. Just a few nervous laughs and a couple of sarcastic comments about summoning the Colonel's ghost. But then, without warning, the planchette started moving. Slowly, almost like someone was just messing with it. I didn't touch it. No one did. I thought it was Davis. He was probably pushing it with his finger, trying to mess with us. But then the thing shifted again just a little further. No one was laughing anymore. The air in the room felt thicker, colder. I caught a glimpse of the overhead lights flickering like they were struggling to stay on, and suddenly the whole room felt a little too quiet. All right, This is dumb, I muttered, starting to pull my hand away. But then the damn thing moved again. Just a little. The kind of movement you couldn't ignore, no matter how much you wanted to. For a second, I thought I saw something, like a shadow in the corner of my eye. It was gone as fast as it appeared, but it left a bad taste in my mouth. I should have stopped it right there. But you know how it goes. Nobody wants to look like the scared one. So we kept going. We were staring at that damn board like it was about to give us a military-grade briefing. Davis was still acting like he had everything under control, but something wasn't right. The planchette kept moving on its own, but it was slower this time, more deliberate. Not the kind of movement you'd expect from someone just messing around with it. I mean, the thing started to slide over to yes. Wait, I said, raising an eyebrow. You really telling me we're all just going to sit here and believe this thing's alive now? Davis grinned like the damn thing was about to win him a medal. Maybe it's a ghost who's a fan of Marines. Ever think of that? Everyone laughed, but the smile didn't reach my face. The planchette started moving again, and this time it stopped at M. What the hell does that mean? I muttered under my breath. Then the damn thing moved again, real slow, like it had all the time in the world. It slid to E. All right. Cut it out, I said. Who's messing with the thing? Are we spelling out M-E? What is this, a game of Pictionary? But the planchette didn't stop. It moved again, this time to T. Hold up, said Martinez, his voice dropping. What the hell is going on here? It didn't spell anything we recognized, just M-E-T, over and over, like it was trying to finish something we didn't understand. Then the air in the room went cold. No joke. I could see my breath in the dim light, and that wasn't normal. The lights flickered again, and there was this weird scratching sound coming from the corner of the room. Not like someone dragging their boots, but like nails on a chalkboard. All right, this is just getting ridiculous, I said, trying to laugh it off. But I was already getting that itch in my gut, the kind of feeling you get when something feels off, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Davis rolled his eyes. Come on, man. You Marines are supposed to be tough. Ghosts? Really? But even Davis was starting to look uneasy now. We all were. That board wasn't just moving anymore. It was making us feel something we didn't want to, and I could see it in their eyes. No one was laughing anymore. Things went downhill real quick after that. At first it was just the board messing with us. Planchette moving on its own, lights flickering, some cold air here and there. But then it started doing shit that didn't make sense. 1 minute, the board spells out something like A-R-T, and then it moves to B-E. I mean, it didn't even spell a word, just random letters. Then out of nowhere, it started spelling M-O-R-E. I'm not sure who started it, but after a while we couldn't ignore it. I saw Davis swipe his hand across the board, trying to show it was just him messing around. But every time he did, the planchette moved again. And I mean moved. Faster, harder. We all froze. This is bullshit, said Martinez, standing up. Who's really pushing it? Nobody said anything. Everyone was watching the board like we were waiting for it to answer back. And then it did. A voice, low, like it was coming from the floor beneath us. The words weren't clear, but it sounded like, "Get out." And then the room went cold again. I looked around, half expecting one of the guys to be laughing or maybe pulling some prank. but nobody was laughing. And then shit started moving. First it was just a pin on the table, slowly sliding across the wood. Then the chair beside me creaked like someone had just sat down in it. But I was alone. Everyone was looking at each other, trying to figure out if it was all in our heads or if someone was screwing with us. "Davis," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "if this is you, I swear to God, knock it off." But even I didn't believe it. Then I saw it. Something at the corner of my eye, a shadow bigger than the rest, shifting across the room, just out of reach of the light. When I turned, it was gone. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just some joke. This was real. Or at least, it felt real. And suddenly, the idea of leaving the room wasn't a joke anymore. I could hear my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't want to admit it, but I felt the first real sting of fear. "It's not funny anymore," I said, my voice a little quieter than I meant it to be. Nobody argued, nobody laughed. We were all waiting for the next thing, and it wasn't going to be a joke. All of a sudden, I wasn't in the barracks anymore. I wasn't even in this room. For a second, I was back in the desert, hearing nothing but gunfire and the sound of my own breathing in my helmet. It was just the damn board messing with me. I knew that, but the more it moved, the more I could feel it. That cold feeling creeping into my bones like I was back out there, stuck in the middle of a firefight, waiting for the next round to hit. I could smell the dust, the heat, and the blood. My ears were ringing, the weight of the M4 pressing into my chest. I wasn't here with the guys anymore. I was somewhere else, somewhere worse. Then I heard it again. A voice, low, distorted, sounded like it came from behind me, like the wind was carrying it through the cracks in the walls. The sound of someone screaming, followed by that haunting whisper, "Get out." My heart skipped a beat. My mind was screaming at me, "Focus, stay with it." But I couldn't. My hands were on the table, but they felt like they were gripping something else, something sharp, something hot. I blinked hard, and suddenly the room was shifting. The walls of the barracks started to blur. The shadows stretched long, like they did in the night when we were out on patrol, barely keeping our heads down. Was someone behind me? Was there someone in the corner? No, I wasn't sure anymore. "You good, Sarge?" Davis asked, his voice sounding miles away. I snapped back. The room was normal again, but it wasn't. It didn't feel like it was supposed to. I'd seen enough death, enough blood, to know the difference between the real world and a nightmare. But now, I wasn't sure. I felt like I was stuck in both. By this point, I didn't know what was real anymore. At first, it was just the board moving. Then, it was the voices, quiet but sharp, like they were coming from all around us, through the walls, under the floor. And then it went full throttle. I remember it clear as day. I was sitting there, trying to shake it off, telling myself it was all in my head. But the lights went out, just for a second, like someone had flipped the switch. We all froze, and when they came back on, I saw it. Davis, he was gone. The spot where he'd been sitting was empty. Just a chair, turned slightly to the side, like he'd gotten up, but there was no sign of him. "Davis!" I called out, my voice sounding too loud. "Davis, where the hell are you?" Nothing, just that damn silence. Then the planchette shot across the board faster than I'd ever seen it move. It slammed against the edge, and the lights flickered again. I looked up, and that's when I saw it. It wasn't a shadow, At least not one you could explain. It was dark, like it was made of darkness itself, and it was standing at the door. No eyes, no face, just that thing staring at us. I felt a hand on my shoulder, and I spun around. It was Martinez, his face pale, sweat dripping down his forehead. "It's real," he whispered, barely audible. "We need to stop this now." The rest of the guys were freaking out, trying to make sense of what was happening. Some of them wanted to quit, wanted to burn the damn board, to end it. But others, Davis was gone, and we were all losing it. They were shouting at the board, asking questions, daring it to give them answers. They wouldn't let go. That's when the voices started getting clearer, louder. They were inside my head now, rattling my thoughts like they were trying to force their way in. My vision blurred, and I swear to God I saw the room change. The walls felt like they were closing in. I snapped, grabbing the board. "Shut up! Shut the hell up!" I yelled, but my hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold on to it. I knew we'd gone too far, but I didn't know how to stop it. I tried to tell myself it wasn't real, that I was just losing it, but I wasn't so sure anymore. And for the first time since this whole thing started, I was scared. Scared of what was happening, scared of what might be coming next. That thing, whatever it was, wasn't playing around. And I didn't think any of us were getting out of this one unscathed. I don't know how long we stood there staring at the board, but it felt like the room was closing in on us. The board wasn't just moving anymore. It was ripping through the air. The planchette flew across the surface, slamming into the side with such force it nearly shattered the damn thing. But that wasn't the worst part. It was the noise. Low, guttural, like it was coming from the depths of the earth itself. That's when I felt it, something heavy, something solid brushing past me, like hands, only they weren't hands. They were bigger, and they weren't real. "We have to stop it," Martinez said, his voice shaking, but his hand was already gripping his rifle. I could see his fingers tremble, the weapon shaking in his grip. But this wasn't the kind of fight we were trained for. No amount of ammo, no amount of orders was going to get us out of this one. "No, we need to get rid of it now," I shouted, but my voice was thin, barely a whisper above the chaos. We were all moving around, trying to find some escape or some way to fight back, but everything felt wrong. The walls, the floor, they were warping as if they didn't belong to this place. The light from the overheads buzzed and flickered like it was about to give out, casting weird, broken shadows in every corner of the room. Suddenly, Davis, who was just a shadow at the corner of my mind, still gone, appeared in front of me. His eyes weren't his anymore. They were black, full of rage, full of something I couldn't even name. "Leave!" It wasn't him. The voice was raw, distorted. It wasn't just the board talking now. "What the hell is this?" Gunny's voice cracked, panic in his throat. He fired once, twice, into the dark. But the shots didn't matter. They just bounced. It didn't make sense. Nothing made sense. "Run!" I yelled, grabbing Martinez by the arm, but he was already gone. Running. We were all running. But the moment I turned to look behind me, it wasn't the barracks anymore. It wasn't the place I knew. It was something else. Dark. Wrong. I wanted to scream, but the words wouldn't come. All I could think of was how we'd crossed a line we couldn't come back from. I don't know how we made it out. I don't even know if we really did. The guys who were still around, they scattered. We all ran, and maybe it's because none of us knew what else to do. Maybe we thought if we left, if we just got out of the damn barracks, we could forget about it. But the truth is, I couldn't. None of us could. When we finally stumbled out of that place, shaking, half dead from the terror, we thought we were free, thought that whatever was in there was done, but something followed us, not in the way you think. It wasn't some ghostly figure hanging over our shoulders. It was more like a feeling, a memory, like it had infected our heads, our minds. We couldn't shake it off. The thing was, I was the one who started it. I was the one who stood there, holding that damn board like it was just another game, and I watched it all unfold. We never spoke about it again. Not in the way you think. But I could see it in their eyes, each one of us carrying the weight of what happened, the guilt, the fear. It was like a scar we'd all earned together, but nobody ever wanted to admit it. I'm still here, though. I'm still telling this story. I don't know why. Maybe I think it'll make the feeling go away. But that's the thing about this kind of darkness. It doesn't go. You just learn to live with it, like a part of you you can't escape.